Hey guys, it's Jenny Wolek with the Wolek Group, Keller Williams Realty in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It is such an honor to be back with you and share some more agent success secrets. And today I'm with Wendy Papasan out of Austin, Texas. So happy to have you share your time, Wendy. Thank you so very much for being here.
Oh, thanks, Jenny. It's a pleasure.
Well, we've gotten to know each other over the years, and I just love so much about your story, and there's so much value that can be shared to other agents across the country. And so I'm going to pass the ball to you and just have you share with everyone where you're from, how you got in this biz, what your team looks like, your production, and your big goals. How about all that?
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, hi, guys. Well, I'm Wendy, and I'm from Austin, Texas, and that's where our real estate team started. Now we have locations in a few other places. We're in Houston, Texas, Dallas, Minneapolis, and St. Louis, Missouri. So we're kind of all over the place now. I will be celebrating my 1,000th home sale this year, as well as my 10th year in the business. And so there's that. We have about 24 agents on our team. Most of them are in Austin. We have 24 people on our team, and that includes 5 full-time operations team and a couple of virtual assistants as well. Last year, 2018, we helped 304 families, and that for us is about 110 million in volume and about 2.8 million in GCI. So that's us.
That's amazing. And 10 years in the business is a long time and not really a long time if you really think about it. So
it feels like it ages you, you know.
Yeah, no kidding. And so let's just go into some meat here about your story, because you've shared this on stage, and there's so much for everyone to learn. And how do you grow and have expansion partners and a very large team and a mom and a spouse and a community giver? And how do you do all that?
Yeah, well, so I just started small, and through focus and kind of strategic planning, I was able to grow my business a little bit every year. I actually found my first 411. So I've been doing the 411 long before I became a realtor, because my husband showed me that. So I found my first 411 from 2010 when I started. And guess what my goal was for that year?
I feel like I've heard this, maybe like 10,000 or something.
Yeah, it was like $15,000. So little. And so I always share that, because I think a lot of people get into this business just like I did, which is my son was going to kindergarten and my daughter was 3 years old. And I really thought to myself, gosh, what am I going to do with myself? And I'd been buying investment properties, and I was a landlady. And so the main reason I got my real estate license was to save money on investment properties. And my goal was $15,000 and to save money on investment properties. And it's just like, when I think back on that, I'm like, geez, Wendy, like at least it could have been like $20,000, you know? But that represented a lot of money for us. And for most families, an extra $15,000 when I hadn't been working for 5 years. You know, I was a stay-at-home mom for 5 years before I got my license. That represented a lot of money for us. And that represented a lot of things that we could do for our family, take vacations and things like that. And so that first full year in the business, I ended up selling 18 houses, working part-time. And then the next year after that, I ended up selling 23 houses, working part-time. And through all of that, I had help. I got help through like a transaction coordinator. And then I had a part-time assistant that helped me. And then I really said to myself, I need to amp this up. And so I hired a full-time assistant. And that year I sold 55 houses. And so for me, it's just been firing myself over and over again and replacing myself with somebody who was better behaviorally suited for the job and someone who just enjoyed the job more. And that's what success looks like for me.
Well, how did you know? What systems did you follow, or models did you model in knowing how to do this?
Well, my husband is the co-author of The Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. Oh, you have the spiral bound one. You're so cool.
Oh, I did it myself. This is so old.
Yeah. So there's definitely that. And, of course, having Jay at home was awesome. And he was a great coach. And he also let me fail forward a lot so I could learn, which is really nice of him. Like sometimes years later, I'd go back to him and say, oh, I wish I'd listened to you. I would have saved so much time.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, all real estate businesses are different and you have to kind of fail forward through it all. And that's really what I've done. I mean, I've made so many mistakes and I haven't been afraid to keep going.
Yeah, that's what obviously Gary talks about all the time is the fail forwards. So in those early days when you're being a mom to young ones, little, kindergarten and smaller, and you're seeing success and you're like, wow, this is fun. And so I'm certain you were feeling the energy from
fun, but also freaking out,
So how were you counterbalancing?
Well, the first thing I would say is that it gets messy, especially after being a stay-at-home mom for so long and having kind of control over my world. Jumping into something new and then, well, not that I had control, but more control, like
I'm laughing because I was saying like at home we have systems and that we're used to, and then we get into real estate where we're just chaos.
Yes, exactly. And so it's not like I was greeting Jay with a martini and perfect lipstick when he came home every day. And yet our house, it was going pretty smoothly. I'm a pretty organized person, and then when you put real estate into the mix, things sort of fall apart a little bit. And so then you look at ways to streamline your home life, getting help at home, getting a housekeeper, having your housekeeper maybe come more often, figuring out your food prep situation, getting childcare help for sure. And and it's messy. Like you mess up a lot. My kids multiple times would be sitting in the office of their elementary school because I was late picking them up. Yep. And that's the reality of it. And I can remember one year, and this is terrible. One year I was supposed to show up for my son's Thanksgiving lunch, and I didn't even have an appointment. I just forgot it, which anyone could do, but I sort of blamed it on my busy life. And I showed up and I was late. It was right when all the kids were pouring out of the cafeteria, and he saw me, just burst into tears. And that was heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. But at the end of the day, he's fine. He's a well-adjusted 14-year-old now. He's not, he's not scarred for life by it. And he gets to see his mom run towards her dream every day.
And with you running it towards your dream and sharing that with your spouse, you guys have built a life that allows your family to go on amazing vacations. And so share some of how you guys plan and time block all of that, maybe from some of these tools.
Okay, sure. So I would say that, Jay, one of the things that Jay and I have done right as far as being a couple goes is, and we've done lots of things wrong. We still continue to do lots of things wrong. But one of the things that we've done right is about 12 years ago when our kids were really little, we decided to go on a couples goal setting retreat. And most of us set goals in our business, but we don't always sit down with our significant other and set goals for our life, family, marriage, relationship, future, finances, all that stuff. And so I was not working as a realtor yet. And I think maybe, I don't know, I needed to know where we were going, because there's a certain element of being a stay-at-home mom that's awesome. And then there's a certain element for me that was, that kind of took away some of my identity as a working person. And so that was hard for me. Anyway, so I said, honey, let's take a retreat. Let's take a couple days away from the kids. Somebody else is going to watch the children. And I came up with all these questions, and they were this list of questions all around, like, how's our marriage? How's our sex life? Where do we want to go? How much passive income do we want to have? What do we want our finances to look like? And probably at the end of the day, I just had way too much time on my hands. And I think Jay was pretty terrified when I was like, oh yeah, I have this retreat plan and I have the whole, thing scheduled. And we have like 7 pages of questions. I'm sure he was like, what? And so then that's turned into an annual retreat for us. And then the last 2 years, we've been able to share that with other couples. And so this year we had 100 other couples, and we facilitated a retreat for them, which was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How
So that's great.
How rewarding was that, of knowing that that is something you came up with? It's been great for your marriage and your family, and now you got to share it with so many other people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, both Jay and I just got pinged a lot, like, hey, this is so great. We're doing this together. And for a lot of people whose spouse isn't an entrepreneur, right? We kind of assume we know what's going on in their head, and yet we never really take the time away from our busy life to sit down and look that person in the eye and really focus on each other and our future together. Because as awesome as it is to be a parent, I know that someday, pretty soon, my kids are 13 and 14, they're not going to be around anymore. And so, like, what's our life going to look like after our kids? You know, what are we going to do?
I think you're so right on. Everybody's living in the moment. Most humans are living in the moment, and I love that you're pushing out the future and forecasting it and seeing the vision.
Yeah, well, especially as an entrepreneur, it's like, what are your, you know, we don't have a 401k, typically, most of us. And, you know, what are you going to, especially if you're a real estate agent, are you just going to be, you're going to be showing buyers when you're 85 years old? I mean, I hope not. I mean, if you love it, go for it. But for most of us, that's not what we dream about.
Yeah. So when you started adding leverage to your life, can you think back on and share any failures in that you wish now you'd gone faster through, or what you learned from that's valuable to others?
Well, I think for most people, especially women, that the part that should come faster, but it doesn't, is the leverage at home. And so for me, getting maybe, you know, a housekeeper or someone to do our laundry or something like that sooner would have taken the stress level down a notch. Yeah. And most of us think about reinvesting in our business, but we don't think about reinvesting in our home life to take some of those things off our plate. So I would say that would be the number one thing.
And maybe it's because I agree with that 100%. Maybe it's because our commission checks aren't until, you know, all this time later. We've done all this work and then we're waiting. And that idea of spending $100 a week for someone to come clean our home, that feels like real money right then. I don't know what it is, but I totally see that.
Well, I think a lot of people, especially women, you know, some of their self-worth is tied up in kind of what we do. Right. And I know that when you're a very capable person, which most entrepreneurs are, you tend to just take things on. You're like, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. And so you just end up taking stuff on because you are actually able to do it. And if you're a very capable person, you know, the people who are probably most successful in this world, they're probably the least capable at the 80%. Right? And I know I'm all around capable. And so when I've been really busy in the past, I've really focused on my 20%. And then when I get less busy, I take some of that 80% back on. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Women especially do that.
So first and foremost, everyone should know their 20%. They should understand Pareto's principle, and all the rest of the stuff should be done or not done or delegated and moving on. Yeah.
Well, and I think people should also know what they're worth. You know, what's your wage? What's your hourly wage? And so if you made $100,000 last year, divide that by the number of weeks and hours you worked per week and find out your hourly wage. And you might be surprised that it's, you know, $35, $55. For some people listening, it's probably $100. And yet we're doing work that we could pay somebody else who's actually very happy for the work. You know, they're very happy for the work, and we have an opportunity to grow their lives. You know, I think as business owners, we have the opportunity to grow other people's businesses. Like, for instance, my housekeeper, she's incredible. We've helped her grow her business. She gets lots of referrals for make-readies for us. And she told me recently that she bought 3 rental properties in in Central America, which is where she's from. And she just said to me, she said, listen, Wendy, you know, I'm not going to be able to clean houses forever. Right? We have the ability to impact other people in a really positive way. And in fact, when you go to other countries, it's actually seen as, if you are wealthy and you can afford to hire help, it's actually seen as an obligation that you should do. And here, for some reason, we think we have to do it all. Whereas if you go to India, you're obligated to employ other people, right? Because
I like that way of thinking.
Oh, well, it's really true. We're just so obsessed with working here in America, you know?
Well, let's stop that. Let's start a movement.
100%. I'm for that.
Well, let me ask you this. Besides your family, besides your team that, of course, you love, what else really, really drives you?
Well, I have a big passion for giving back. It's one of our values on our real estate team. And so I do a lot of charitable work. One of my favorite charities is a charity called Heroes for Children, and it's a Texas charity that helps children with cancer. Last year, we had a poker tournament, and we raised $156,000 in one night for kids with cancer, so that was awesome. And then we had another event that we do for them because a lot of these families, the financial burden of having a child with cancer is so great because typically one of the parents has to quit their job. And so the financial burden, in addition to the mounting hospital bills, you have to drive to the hospital. Sometimes the hospital's in a different city. You have to pay for hotel rooms. And so we found out that a lot of these families, they don't ever get Christmas because they can't afford Christmas. And so this year we helped 47 children who either had cancer or had a brother or sister with cancer. And we gave them the Christmas of their dreams. Gifts, decorations, all that kind of stuff. And so being able to do that is awesome. I'm also chairman of the board for Keller Williams Kids Can, which is one of Gary Keller's charities that helps young adults think bigger, build their wealth, and lead purposeful lives. And that's been super fun for me. And the great thing about building your real estate team up is that I'm not in sales anymore. So that allows me to do some of these things that I might not have been able to do otherwise because I'm not working with clients anymore.
Where does your passion and your heart come from? How did you learn that you love to give?
Well, I don't know. I guess I've always been headed in that direction, and I haven't always been able to contribute the way I wanted to, but I always knew that I wanted to do that. So Jay and I have always had these goals for giving. And when we made less money, one of our goals was money we raise, because I think as a leader, we can be a leader of leaders and you can organize events. You don't have to do it all, but you can be the organizer because most people don't want to be the organizer or the leader. And then we have, so money we give, and then money we raise, money we give, and then time that we spend on charitable stuff. And so that's one of the metrics for us that's been pretty powerful. And just kind of tracking all that has been great. And we when we do our goal setting retreat, that's one of the goals for us every year is those three things.
And again, everything that you share is going from E to P on something. Like you knew you wanted to give, and now let's make a system around it.
Yeah.
And then we track numbers and we have accountability.
Yeah. Well, and it's really interesting because if you'd asked me 15 years ago, I've always been pretty organized, but naturally and pretty strategic in my thinking, but I would have never characterized myself as systematic. And yet probably, I don't know, at some point in the real estate journey, I just had this big aha, which is when you're having that feeling of overwhelm and you just, that feeling, you've got that like feeling in the pit of your stomach and you feel like vomiting, or you're waking up in the middle of the night full of dread. That is your body actually telling you something needs to change. Yeah. And so I had an aha where I was like, oh, the thing that needs to change is I need to go from E to P in something, whatever it is. And so it's just like all those things in your life that are causing you even a little bit of stress, you can go from E to P in them, and that gives you more time, more control, and just allows you to have more fun.
I love that, and I agree. E2P is my favorite, by the way. What are you most proud of right now, Wendy?
Well, I'm always most proud of my marriage. Like for me, that's the center of my life. And Jay and I work really hard at our marriage. We have a weekly date night, which we've been doing for over 10 years, which is for us, over 500 dates since our kids were born. And then we also make sure that we take our couples retreat, and sometimes that's in a fun spot. Like last year, that was in Nashville. And then we work out 3 times a week in the morning. We have a trainer that comes to our house at 5:30 in the morning. And so that's our time that we get to spend together. And so, yeah, so I'm most proud of it. It's a lot of work. We're both stubborn, like kind of hard driving people. So we like do this, we butt heads a lot. But it's like so worth it. At the end of the day, he's my person. So.
Oh, that is so sweet. Yeah. Well, what else can we talk about that is really in your heart and you love to share?
Well, I have a new business that I'm working on, which is sort of fun. So I have some extra time now. In addition to my charitable work, I'm working on a business that's like a home maintenance, repair, and remodeling business. And so I've hired someone phenomenal to run that. And so that's been fun, just kind of coming up with something totally different. Mm-hmm. That's also in alignment with our real estate team, and hopefully we'll bring our real estate team business and we'll be real synergistic. But that's fun for me is building stuff. And so now that my real estate team I've got all these great people that can run it, I can go out and do something new and fun.
Yeah. You mentioned something about your team. Your team is amazing. I know so many of them, and you really empower leaders inside of your team.
Oh, thank you.
How did you discover that talent? Because I'm just going to guess or a lot of mega agents may have control issues on releasing power. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, so luckily I don't have control issues. So I'm happy about that. And I have a very strong desire to help other people succeed. I don't know why that is. It's just a part of me. Yeah. So I'd love to say I've been like cultivating it like crazy over the years. But I think some of it is just, Gary Keller's influence on our life, which he's always said, I'd rather own a piece of, 10% of something that I didn't have to run it all and, be in business with a phenomenal person instead of having to really do it all. And so I just always took that to heart. And at the end of the day, it's just really fun to come to work and be surrounded by amazing, smart, fun, interesting, funny people. I mean, I love that. Otherwise, if you don't have that, you're always like pulling people up the hill behind you. And that's not fun. That's exhausting. And I'd rather just be, running up the hill together and then just enjoying it, because we only get one life, right? So.
Well, especially when, as you've done, that everyone's all bought into the vision, and that's when it gets super fun and you have a fun culture. So.
Yeah, it really is. And now we've got kind of it took us a long time to get all those things straight, our values and our mission and all that kind of stuff. And yet, once you get there, it's fun to bring other people with you. Because my big why is to empower and inspire big thinking leaders to create lives of abundance. And so I wake up every day. I literally run up the steps to my office because I love to come in here every day. And I get to hang out with the smartest, best people in the world.
That's the dream. You're living the dream, sister.
I mean, not every day is amazing. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun watching your success. It's fun knowing you, and I look forward to seeing you here very, very soon at Family Reunion.
Yeah, right around the corner.
I know. So let's just share with everyone how they can share referrals with you or get in touch if they need to.
Sure. Well, so like I said, we're in Austin, Texas. We also have teams in Houston and Dallas, so we pretty much got you covered in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm on Facebook. That's probably the best place to reach me. I'm also on Instagram. You can go to our website, Papasan Properties. I'm sure you can Google me. My phone number's probably out there. So
Yeah.
I'm here. Yeah.
I hope you said Kelly. I zoned off for a second.
Yeah. And Kelly, of course. Yeah. If you're a Keller Williams agent, for sure, you can reach me through Kelly and my referrals.
Well, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for all that awesome content and valuable lessons that we can all learn. If you guys need anything from me, my number is 918-706-9845. Have a great day. Bye, Wendy. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.